But after the events that did take place on Capitol Hill, there were even more modifications that were made.
We're here in Hopewell right now at the Moose Family Center, and I'm actually going to get out of the way so you guys can take a look at this devastating damage right now as crews are currently in the process of battling this fire. Former Nevada senator was referred to as a legendary leader who was defined as a soft-spoken and dedicated lawmaker. Jason Day was taken back into custody around 3:30 this afternoon.
The U.S. and its European allies promised that if Russia continued its actions, the Russian economy would take a massive hit, and those plans are now in the works.
57 years ago, Martin Luther King Jr. spoke on those steps behind me. And nearly 6 decades later, many people say work still needs to get done. Whether you are at the gas pump or you're at the grocery store, prices are high. But the Biden administration says things are starting to look up. More than 100 people came out for today's event as Republicans emphasize their goals for the country. Do not try this at home. Let's do it, Mike. All right, here we go. Oh my God. The team was here for the same reason in 2015, but missed visits for their second and third championship titles after tangling with former President Trump.
The clock is ticking on these talks as the country could default on the national debt this summer unless a compromise is reached.
People from all across the country marched in Washington, D.C. Friday to make their voices heard and stand against abortion.
Should we still march?
This is the 50th year of the anti-abortion march, but the first one since the Supreme Court struck down the federal right to an abortion.
We will march until abortion is unthinkable.
The next phase now begins, and that's what this year's march is all about. The next steps in a post-Roe era.
For Holly Montanari, this is the 20th march she has attended, and she says she's proud to see younger people coming out in support.
That's really what motivates me to keep coming back and supporting them too, because they're going to have another fight on their, on their hands, even now that it's at the state level.
Many at the march say even though the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, they came out to march because they say there's still more work to do.
It's not just the laws, but to change people's minds as well.
We are a pro-life generation, and we are going to be the ones not only to overturn Roe, which we've already done, but to end abortion throughout all 50 states.
Congress was not in session during the event, but participants say they're still sending a strong message to lawmakers.
Stand with us for the human rights of every human being.
Reporting in Washington, I'm Basil John. A threatening situation outside the Library of Congress came to a peaceful close Thursday.
He gave up and did not resist, and our folks were able to take him into custody without incident.
Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger says 49-year-old Floyd Ray Roseberry of North Carolina parked on the sidewalk and told police he had explosives inside his pickup truck.
And what appeared, the officer said, appeared to be a detonator in the man's hand.
For about 30 minutes, Roseberry live-streamed on Facebook, showing the alleged bomb in his lap and calling on police to negotiate with him.
We first started doing that with a whiteboard, just writing messages back and forth. We used a robot to get a telephone down to him.
Both the House and the Senate are on recess, but there are still people working, so law enforcement evacuated some of the surrounding congressional office buildings. Roseberry claimed there are others like him in Washington, D.C., something police are looking into.
Right now, we have no indication that he was acting with anyone else, but that, again, is part of the ongoing investigation.
Manger says police will now work with prosecutors to decide what criminal charges Roseberry should face. Reporting in Washington, I'm Basil John.
And he worked right up to the last day. His death was unexpected, and he'd be sorely missed.
There's a somber atmosphere around Capitol Hill after lawmakers learned Virginia Congressman Donald McEachin lost his battle to cancer.
Donald was an amazing public servant.
Virginia Senator Tim Kaine knew the congressman for 37 years and called him a towering guy with a gentle soul.
Firm when he needed to be, but kind and compassionate, and a real heart for the underdog.
Kaine says after years of working closely together, it's a heavy loss.
We were on a state ticket together in 2001 with our friend Mark Warner, so we go back a long ways.
Virginia Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger said it was clear McEachin put his district first.
he had an outsized voice on some of the issues that certainly mattered most to his constituents.
Spanberger says because of the impact McEachin had on Congress, it'll be hard for anyone to fill his shoes.
They sent a man to Congress who, among peers, was seen as a real leader.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she spoke to McEachin just last week.
Right up until the end, he was advocating for the people of Virginia.
In addition to the condolences from lawmakers, President Joe Biden said in a statement, "Through it all, Don always fought for the working people of Virginia. He never quit in his pursuit of justice." His seat will now remain vacant until a special election is held. Reporting in Washington, I'm Basil John.